Hello, it's Carla again. We have arrived at emotion number 17 in no particular order. Joy. Joy! The queen of the emotions, the best emotion in the world. And you know what's coming next. Joy can be problematic. Any emotion can. Any emotion can be exactly, perfectly the thing you need right then. If a bear is coming at you, I do not want to see joy. I want to see some panic helping you decide to fight, flee, or freeze. Right? If you're going forward doing the wrong thing with the wrong intention, with the wrong people for the wrong reasons, I do not want to see joy at that time. I want to see some depression, some shame come to slow you down and ask you, is this really what you want to do? Because if we let you go forward, you're going to end up in a place that nobody wants to be in, right? Understanding the intelligence of all of your emotions helps you know when each emotion is appropriate. And there are times when joy is incredibly appropriate, and there are times when joy is not the emotion you want to be feeling. Okay? So looking at joy as one in 17 emotions instead of the queen of the emotions, the bestest emotion in the world. It's a lovely, lovely emotion. Right? It's a beautiful emotion. And so are they all. So let's look at joy without that ridiculous overlay of negative and positive emotions. It never helps. Let's look at it as itself. What does it do? What is it for? I call joy affinity and communion. It is about achieving a state of oneness with everything and beauty. Its gifts are expansion, communion, inspiration, splendor, radiance, and bliss. And there isn't really much of an internal statement. It's more, thank you. This is a radiant moment. Thank you. So if you think of the psyche and each of the different emotions, what we see with joy is a complete opening. It's a complete sort of open focused meditation on beauty and communion and togetherness and peace on earth and everything, that we aspire to, right? But what happens with joy is your boundaries drop. What that means is your boundary setting emotions drop as well. So anger is not there, shame is not there, hatred is not there, apathy is not there. It's gone. Without any boundaries, your instinct-based emotions tend to go away too. Fear is not there. Worry and anxiety are not there. What's there to be worried about? You're in full joy. Jealousy and envy may be there because you're in the area of love and the having of everything. So jealousy and envy may be there in their, in their really open space meditation of having everything. Panic will not be there because there's nothing to be afraid of. There's no hazards in joy. So you actually lose your capacity to see if danger is coming. Right? So joy is very, very open. Sadness may be there a little bit because, have you ever had the joy where you just cry as you let go of tension, as you let go of the ideas that this could never happen? Grief and joy are sort of together, but I don't know if you would feel grief during joy. You might. More you would feel sadness. Depression isn't there. Depression takes your energy away when you're doing something that really isn't ever going to work. Depression isn't there. It's sort of like everything works. So with joy, you end up losing access to a bunch of your emotions. And for the moment that you're in joy, that's great. But the moments of joy need to end, and you kind of put your boundaries back up and get your emotions back together and, stir the oatmeal and do the laundry and remember the joy. It's a beautiful emotion, but it can't be lived at all times because I want to say incapacitates your other emotions, but it makes them unimportant. And that's beautiful when joy happens, like when you're in the most beautiful place in the world and you just breathe it in and your whole body is in the beauty. It's brilliant. It's exquisite. When you hear the best piece of music and the harmonies hit just right and your whole soul reorganizes itself in response. Gorgeous, beautiful, necessary. But what if you're in joy for a longer period of time? This is mania. I have friends who are bipolar, and they move back and forth between a depression, sort of this kind of normal space, and then this really high level of joy. And without access to their other emotions, they will spend all their money. They will get involved in situations that are very, very dangerous. They will stay up all night and day doing their art or some project, not eat. They will, their equilibrium will go away. They may find no problem in having sex with whomever because it's all good, right? It's all wonderful. There's no fear or anxiety telling them anything. There's no anger setting boundaries. There's no shame saying, well, that wouldn't work very well. It's all good. And this can be a beautiful thing, and yet it can be a disaster. And when the mania and the joy move away, there is a house full of debris. Like the wave has come in and has moved most of the furniture, and everything's wet and everything's turned around. That can be what happens when joy is allowed to be open too long and the other emotions cannot speak. They cannot be heard because they're not even a part of the situation. So understanding that joy is an amazing sort of peak experience, and it has, danger and delight grow on the same stalk. This could be a definition of joy. So I'm not saying don't feel joy. I'm saying know what it is. It is a boundaryless, all-one situation. It is a peak orgasmic experience. I don't know if you've tried, but it's hard to have orgasms all day long. You get tired, right? It has its place. It is necessary. It's a beautiful emotion. And it is a powerful, powerful state that requires care. Joy is total affinity and total communion, and feeling that is exquisite. It's exquisite. And there is a sort of a natural place where it lets go and the boundaries come back, and you get back to life, but you've been changed. You've been changed forever by joy. And it's okay not to feel it every day. If you believe that emotions are positive and negative, you're going to want to stay in joy, and that's a problem. Because it is a necessary state, but it is also a dangerous state. And it's okay to be in danger every now and then. That's awesome. It's okay to be boundaryless. It's okay to not have your instincts or intuition or your shame or your anxiety or your worry. It's okay not to have access to the emotions that would slow you down and say, hey, friend, you don't need to have sex with that person, right? We don't even know who that person is, okay? Or you don't need to give all your money away. You don't need to gamble. You don't need to do all these you don't need to have all these intense experiences, right? Joy lives in your body. Joy is an emotion. It is not a magical thing. It has its job. It has work to do. It has value, but it is not an otherworldly experience. It sort of is, but it's here. Joy lives here. And I have a meditation called Rejuvenation that intentionally accesses joy in a grounded and boundaried way so that you can have an experience of joy every day, as often as you like, without having the loss of the other parts of your emotional universe. So joy, awesome. Happiness, awesome. Contentment, awesome. And like any other emotion, there are things to watch out for. There are things to understand. And there are ways to know each emotion in its time, each emotion in its place, each emotion working appropriately, with you as a friend, not a master, with you as a sibling, not a puppet, with you as a welcoming person working with all of the emotions: joy, sadness, grief, jealousy, envy, fear, all of them, anger, hatred, the suicide urge, all of them necessary in a whole and healthy life. We end with the happinesses because they're the emotions everybody wants to start with. And in an empathic approach to emotions, we need to look at the emotions for who and what they are, for what they bring us, for the skills and the differences between them, so that we know when we're in joy, this is awesome. And I'm going to make sure my boundaries are reset, right, before I go outside, before I go in my wallet and go on a shopping spree, right? I need to know what these emotions are about. Welcome your joy. It's a beautiful, necessary emotion. And then do the laundry. Thank you for listening, for engaging, for making a safe and healthy and joyful home for your brilliant emotions to live and play and contribute their genius to every part of your life. Thank you.